Hello everyone, Neagat here. Welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today I'm bringing you a game that was played on Ravaged between myself in the top left corner playing with the red pieces versus my opponent ItzJ playing with the blue pieces in the bottom right corner of Ravaged. ItzJ, I think I've featured him once or twice before in this channel. He is a fantastic player. He's relatively new to Littlewargame, but already he's spent a bunch of time in the game learning how to play. He's probably got about 600 unranked games, from what I remember just looking at his account earlier today. Actually, I think it's over 700. I currently only have 600 unranked games on my account, so it's very impressive. However, we both play as guests sometimes, so our total number of games isn't exactly accurate. Just a reminder for the channel that if you're new here, or you're consistently watching some of my videos and you enjoy the content, I'd really like to encourage you guys to subscribe. That really helps me boost the viewers, boosts kind of the game so that people can kind of see this game a little bit more, and I really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and look at the openers. So myself, I'm going for a Rax opener, and my opponent ItzJ is also going for a Rax opener. This is very interesting because ItzJ normally plays mech. He normally goes for a workshop for his first unit producing building. But in this game, he has decided to go for a barracks opening. As for myself, I go into a raider, and then my opponent goes into an archer. So the rise of the archer build is coming. I think it's here, actually. So we see archers being produced more and more recently. It's very common to see an archer build out of a Rax player, even more than a raider build, I would say at this point. So it's becoming very popular. We do see that I have a worker on the map going around basically scouting for potential aggression that's going on here. I also have these raiders that are coming out now. I am able to scout around, kind of start getting some information on what's going on at the opponent's base. ItzJ has decided to just go for this one archer. This is going to keep him safe from a lot of aggressive openings. However, you do need to commit, you do need to commit some workers for the defense of the archer. In this case, ItzJ has tucked this archer into this corner and has protected it with these workers. The way that this game works is that you really are only, your units can really only attack units that are attacking or have an attack priority. And in this case, the raider here will want to attack the archers, but it needs to attack the workers first to get to the archers, but it won't because the attack priority is on the archer. So really hard to explain, but ItzJ it really has a solid defense. Let's just put it like that. I start blinking forward to try to get some damage on that archer. I was able to hit it once, but was not able to hit it twice. I do see that ItzJ transfers these workers, so I pretty much can't really continue to be aggressive here as much as I might want to be. My castle now finishes. ItzJ's castle was a little bit faster than mine because he only went for that one archer. And then now we do see that my castle was able to finish. I'm continuing to get raiders. I think raiders are very beneficial for receiving scouting information. Oh, this is a very interesting situation right here. So 2 raiders versus 3 archers. That's a fight that I think I can commit to. It's just right now I just don't want to take a lot of damage. And we do see that I'm essentially just trying to scout to see how many archers my opponent has, trying to figure out, is he trying to do a 2-base archer push? Is that what he's going for? And so essentially I'm trying to scout to see if my opponent has a 3rd base. At this point, ItzJ does have a third base down. I'm currently unaware of that fact. He is deciding to go for a little bit of a quicker third base rather than focusing on units. He is able to follow it up with more archers, but at this point he's got a relatively good worker count. Actually, let's take a look at how many workers we have. So we're both at 17 workers. I'm at 4 raiders and my opponent is at a bunch of archers. Oh, this is a lot of where that archer micro comes into play. If you're able to target down one unit, that is usually enough to kind of force your opponent away as that one unit starts getting low. I definitely want to protect that one unit, so I was able to micro that away. However, I was able to get an archer kill, which I'm very, very happy about. And now I was able to scout out that my opponent did go for that third base. At this point, I decided to go for a third base of myself, while also going for a workshop follow-up. So essentially now I know my opponent is going for mass archers, and I'm trying to follow it up with units that are good against archers. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm a little bit supply blocked, so I'm not able to get this catapult right away. In the future, obviously, I definitely need to try to clean that up. But this is an opening that allows you to continue to get catapults. It continues to let you get archers, which are fantastic ranged units. Now I basically try to see if my opponent is going for some super greed, which is very unlikely that he would go for a fourth base, but I'm trying to figure out where his units are at this point. ItzJ goes for a watchtower at his third. Let's go ahead and see if these units do connect. We do see that these units are starting to attack each other, and unfortunately I do end up losing one raider here. ItzJ is starting to take some control in the middle of the map. I basically decide, okay, I'm going to try to divert away from these archers and see if I can get some pressure going on at home. ItzJ does have these 3 archers here, which will be very, very good for defensive play. And at the same time, I now have a catapult and some archers here to try to defend against anything that's going on. I do end up arriving and killing a worker, which is fantastic to see. ItzJ also arrives with a ton of archers, and now he's able to scout out the fact that I have this catapult here. He's doing a fantastic job of microing, and now I'm able to see that my opponent does have this workshop, and thus my assault is basically halted. We do see that this catapult is being a little bit mismicroed. It definitely wants to attack, but obviously there's a minimum range that these catapults have, and ItzJ is trying his best to try to commit his archers so that he can get this catapult. What I do is I maneuver my workers to try to trap his archers in this area, and thus he ends up losing those archers. Let's take a look at the income lost. So ItzJ has lost about 700 gold versus my 500, but we've mined pretty much evenly. He has mined more resources than I have, about 200. So at this point, I would say that we're even. We're about even in terms of income, and we're about even in terms of losses. So very even game so far. I will say that I have more catapults, and in this situation, having catapults is fantastic against archers. We both do decide to go for a fourth base at the exact same time, so both of us are being just a little bit greedy in terms of our play. We don't have a lot of units on the map, but if one of us can get ahead in terms of income, that would be very solid. I think ItzJ is trying to scout around to see if I would be taking a fourth base. No, apparently, no. He's just trying to do some aggression here, and I don't see him approach. It seems, in fact, it seems like he's going to be able to get at this third base pretty safe. I do have these raiders. I do want them to go around and make sure I can scout for any potential assaults that are coming in. ItzJ does try to kill some of these workers. I don't believe he was able to. And now we do see that the archers have arrived. We do see that my catapults are here. And at the same time, my raiders are putting some pressure at ItzJ's 4th base here, but ItzJ is kind of being pushed back a little bit with these 4 catapults and these archers. He definitely needs to micro this, or else he could end up losing a lot of archers here. ItzJ doing a fantastic job of microing. I think I have to send these raiders back just to make sure that I can actually take out these units effectively. Obviously, catapults, they need their shots to land in order for them to be effective. I do send workers here to try to contain these archers, make them just stay away from this 4th base so that they don't end up scouting. But at this point, it does look like ItzJ was able to scout the fact that I have a 4th base, or at least I'm trying to get a 4th base. The raiders do eventually come. Obviously not the best micro that I could have gone for. Ooh, something I do notice is that ItzJ is floating about 1,000 resources at this point. Spending those would be fantastic in order to start kind of pulling ahead. If ItzJ would have gotten a 5th base, that would have been fantastic. If ItzJ would have gotten a little bit more production. It does look like he notices how much gold he was floating, and then he decides to take care of that. 1 sec, I'm going to mute myself. I'll be right back. And I'm back. So let's go ahead and take a look at the map. We do see that my Neagat, or myself in this case, I decide to go for these advanced workshops and get some airships. I try to do a drop here. I definitely want to get some pressure. I think if I would have dropped this catapult right here, I could have potentially killed some workers on this worker line. So I definitely need to play a little bit more aggressive with this. We do see that I'm also moving around with these raiders still. These raiders are fantastic. So I mentioned that these guys are very valuable to keep alive for the majority of the game. You definitely want to keep them alive as long as possible, to move around, to get information, to be able to scout for a lot of what your opponent is going for. We do see that ItzJ does arrive with some archers, and we do see that ItzJ is moving on the side of the map as well, doing some damage against these raiders. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to respond to those raiders in time, but I was able to save this catapult drop, and now I'm going to try to put down another catapult drop, potentially in the main base, if that is even possible. We see that ItzJ is making more watchtowers at his 4th base. This is a fantastic place to have watchtowers up. It's a very defensive base. It has a lot of influence on things that are going on in the map. We do see that my advanced workshop, no, we do see that my airship, rather, is starting to arrive. And now we see that I'm dropping these catapults here. I definitely want to drop them in this location, since ItzJ has kind of made this snug little location for me to potentially put a drop into. And now that my catapults are here, I kind of want them to do something. So I put them to kill this watchtower, and it eventually does. In my point of view, the watchtower is still alive, right? Because I don't have any new information on that building. But as this army kind of approaches, I should be reacting to this and picking it up. We do see that ItzJ is moving towards the side of the map, and I do end up losing the airship here, which is a bummer. But hopefully I'll be able to recover to that. I do a catapult drop here. I'm able to scout that he doesn't have a base yet. And then ItzJ does move some of these units forward, but he just soaked a really solid catapult launch against these units. So it doesn't seem like he's microing this very effectively. And as a result, he's going to end up losing a lot of units here. He does now take control of this army. But he did end up losing some of that. ItzJ was able to send these archers over to the side of the map to try to stop me from taking the 5th base. which is exactly what I was trying to do with this catapult drop here, stop ItzJ from taking a 5th base. But now I'm able to arrive with this army and start kind of forcing him away from that area. I should be able to get information on this location now. Yes, so I'm able to see that ItzJ does have this watchtower, and he might be having forces here as well. So I continue to group units here to be defensive against an attack from this location as well as this location, and then at the same time I am continuing to produce. Here on the bottom left side of the map, I am pressing forward. I definitely want to take out a 5th base if there is one, and I do find out that there is one. ItzJ responds with sending his army to respond to that attack, and then I also set up an attack over here to be able to try to take out one of these base locations. I definitely want to take out at least one of these locations. And now ItzJ is able to drop soldiers on my army, which is very unfortunate for me because my catapults are in a very exposed position. I think I should just be trying to retreat this army away, but I guess I decide to just spend it and just focus on this pressure here. I definitely want to take out at least one of these bases, but it is very unfortunate that I lost this army here. That is a lot of resources that's down the drain now because I wasn't able to retreat at that time. Fortunately for myself, I am about 200 gold ahead in terms of losses. I have lost 200 gold less than my opponent, ItzJ, and I'm still progressing forward. I'm still putting pressure on this other base because ItzJ sent his entire army essentially to defend his base location over here. He didn't have any units to respond, and I was able to kill a lot of buildings, and I'm still able to do a lot of damage here. We do see that ItzJ decides to bring this watchtower. I am able to shoot it out of the sky, but again, as you can see, I'm not doing a fantastic job of keeping these forces alive. ItzJ is doing a better job of being able to pick those off and kill those. Keeping my gold low, I'm very, very happy to see that. And then we're also, as for me, I think I'm about 30 supply ahead of my opponent. Much of that supply are in these catapults and in these airships. I believe catapults are 3 supply and airships are 2. So that is a lot of supply right there. I do see that ItzJ is attacking my base here, and I think I respond by sending my forces back. So obviously this is an exposed base location, but I think attacking ItzJ's army at this point is much more valuable, especially because if he commits in this location, he could end up losing all of his forces, and that would be very beneficial for me, especially as you can see my catapult count is very high. It's going to be very effective against an army composition that's mostly made of clumped archers here, which is very good. We do see that I have airships now. Airships are fantastic for dropping on your opponent's bases, on your opponent's armies, and I'm hoping to be able to use those. But it's very hard to control sometimes, and obviously these archers are able to shoot down those airships, and if they shoot down airships with units inside, you lose the units. But I have them. I want to keep them just in case I need to reposition my forces very quickly. I also start getting a mage guild, so I can start getting mages. Mages are fantastic with catapults because they slow down units that are approaching. We also see that ItzJ does decide to approach my 5th base with his army, and I respond by trying to defend that with my army. I do end up losing a couple airships, which is unfortunate, but you are also starting to see that I have an army here, I have an army here, I have watchtowers here to kind of protect this area. ItzJ is trying to get an additional base in this location, which I recommend. I'm doing the same, but on the other side of the map It's really important to control these center bases as much as you can. And now I'm able to see that my opponent is approaching this base here. I respond with sending this army to defend. I've got some catapults I think I can defend with. I've got some potential archers. My main base is going to try to deal some damage to ItzJ's main base. I'm basically relying a lot on these watchtowers to try to defend as long as it can. Obviously, watchtowers are fantastic for defense as they do a lot of damage to your opponent's units, and then these catapults, now that they're here, can do a lot of alpha damage, but obviously you need to be very careful with how you micro. I approach my opponent's second base. You can see that I'm here with a lot of catapults. I'm essentially just trying to do some damage. ItzJ's reinforcements do arrive, and I'm able to kind of catch his reinforcements with my army here. And I'm trying to focus on killing a lot of his buildings here. So we're very much in a base trade situation. My reinforcements are a little bit better than ItzJ's. ItzJ is using just mostly a primarily racks build composition, whereas I'm using the catapults with my archers, and catapults are really good against barracks units. If I can kill my opponent's army here, then I think I will be in a very fantastic position. I'm essentially just trying to eliminate ItzJ's useful bases. I expect that ItzJ has a second base, or a second gold base here, since my second base is still mining. Obviously, I think it's about to run out of resources here, but I definitely want to try to remove as much of his production as I can, and then remove this third base as well. At this point, I'm unaware that my opponent has expanded to this location. That's very crucial for me to find out in order for me to try to win this game. But as I mentioned before, I'm doing a really good job of trying to kill as much of my opponent's army as I can. And we do see that ItzJ has decided to drop with a lot of his forces on this army, even sending a lot of his workers. I do have this army on the side that I decide to send to try to group up with this army so I can keep it all alive and safe. Especially as most of this army here is just made out of workers. So if ItzJ continues to press forward, I'll just be able to take out a ton of workers just like I did, and now I have archers and catapults to kind of deal damage here. I send out this other contingent on the side of the map. There's a lot of watchtowers here, and catapults are fantastic against watchtowers. That's definitely something I want to try to siege down and be able to eliminate. At the same time, I have my own 6th base here. Funny enough, I'm still unaware of this base, despite it being such a crucial mining base for ItzJ. I think at this point I decided to send a worker over to build a base in this location. But as you can see, I'm kind of ahead. I'm definitely winning in this position. Just having all these catapults, having a little bit more base, being able to kill ItzJ's army is fantastic. We do see that ItzJ did decide to go for catapults, but he built it in a really weird position. It ends up looking like ItzJ won't be able to make use of these catapults except for defense in this position. We see that I'm able to finally scout that ItzJ has this base, and I send a little group of siege catapults and some army to basically kill this off. Additionally, we have some catapults that are killing this base. It'll eventually kill this base, but with that happening, with all that aggression, with all those fights happening, ItzJ does decide to GG. Fantastic game, really well played by ItzJ. He's not a bad player. In fact, he's probably one of the better players of Littlewargame, putting in a ton of practice, playing such a good opening with that archer, being able to repel a lot of those raiders, and then playing just a solid mono racks build essentially with those castles. I was able to defeat him with the power of the catapult, doing a lot of damage to those archer balls, and then being able to get upgrades at the same time was very much in my favor at that point. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching this video with me, especially when it's a longer video. If this is your first time here, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe as it grows the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later.